Hi and welcome back to Charlie's Journey. I'm wearing the same clothes from my first video because I said let me just get a couple videos done. So although this is my second video, it's the same day, okay? So if this is the first time you're watching this video, go and watch my intro video. But I basically said that my whole channel is about my journey after leaving the Jehovah's Witness religion. And I said that I would be talking about my backstory and just letting you guys know how I got involved with the Jehovah's Witnesses, etc. That is what this video is about. So we'll get straight into it. My parents, actually, first of all, my mother had prior knowledge about Jehovah's Witnesses. Even though she wasn't one herself, she had already had prior knowledge. Won't go into that because that's another long story, but she was already aware of them. I believe my dad did as well, but just because of, most people know that they come and knock on your door. And as far as I know, both of my parents, when they were younger, would hide, as a lot of people do, hide from the witnesses when they come knocking at the door. Anyway, my mum had been contacted at work, her place of work, because she was a nanny at the time. And I was 3 years old. So she was a nanny because she could take me with her on her job. So yeah, that's how she got contacted at her place of work. They came, as they do, knocking on the doors. And at first she was not interested because of her prior knowledge and experience that she had had in her life with them. But as witnesses do, they kept coming, and she eventually gave them the time of day and spoke to them, and she had some of her questions answered, I guess, in a satisfactory way. And eventually she started having a Bible study with them. My dad was not interested at all. He would not sit in on any of the Bible studies that she was having, but he had questions because he was curious, and my mum would answer his questions. But eventually the people that were studying the Bible with her, the witnesses that were studying the Bible with her, would say, if you have your own questions, why don't you just come in and sit in and, have them answered by attending the Bible study, which my dad reluctantly did. And eventually, I think maybe a year later, they both got baptized and became official Jehovah's Witnesses themselves. I believe it was a year or maybe 6 months. 6 months or a year, I can't remember now. They became baptized Jehovah's Witnesses themselves. And as I said, that I must have been about four, maybe 5 or something. That's how my parents got involved. My mum was very devout, very dedicated, made sure that she studied the Bible with us. I say us because it was me and my sister. So me to begin with, I'm the oldest. Then my sister came along 6 years later. So my mum always tried to do the best she could to, as I said, study with us and make sure that we were at all of the Jehovah's Witness meetings, because at the time when I was younger, there was 2 midweek meetings, one on a Tuesday evening for an hour, and then another one was generally a Thursday, and that was a couple of hours, and then you had your Sunday meeting. So we were at all 3 of those meetings, as well as going out preaching. She would take us along with her. And then when I was 9 years old, my mum started to discuss with me whether I wanted to become what is called an unbaptized publisher, which is basically where you have a couple of elders who, I'm only explaining the terms for anybody who may not know, but obviously if you're a Jehovah's Witness or an ex-Jehovah's Witness, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you'd have a couple of elders who are basically like the overseers of the congregation, a select group of men called elders. You have a couple of them come. They would ask you a few questions to see if you're ready to basically officially go out preaching. So although my mum took me along with her when I was younger, when you become an unbaptized publisher, you've basically been given the approval to, off of your own back, go out and do preaching, study the Bible with other people and things like that. And also, if I remember correctly, there's other things that you're able to do, such as giving talks, although women don't give public talks the way that men do, but they give what's called demonstrations and things like that, where they can get up on the podium / platform and do preaching demonstrations. So if none of this makes any sense to somebody who isn't a chosen witness, feel free to ask questions in the comments or whatever. But yeah, I became an unbaptized publisher basically when I was 9 or 10. I think I might have been just about to turn 10. And I didn't really want to become one, I'll be honest, but my mum felt that I was old enough at the time to do it. So, and I loved my mum dearly, always have. So I always wanted to make her happy. And I was a very good child, because all my mum had to say to me was, you know, you've upset mummy, and I would be like, oh, devastated. So she didn't really have to do much when I was naughty. Just a look or saying that, you know, you've hurt mummy by doing that, that would be enough. So she expressed that she really wanted me to do that, so I did it. And then my next milestone in the chosen witness religion was when I was 16. I then became a baptized chosen witness, officially, fully dunked in the water, officially became a chosen witness at the age of 16. That was my decision. That was something I did want to do. Although I think I'd gone through a few things around about that time in my life, because 16 is a bit of a tender age, and it definitely was for me. But it was my decision, and I definitely felt like it was something I wanted to do, so I didn't feel pressured into doing that as such. A couple of my close friends at the time also had got baptized, I think maybe a few months prior to me, because I remember we went for our questions at a similar kind of time, and at first I was denied, because you have to again get approval by the elders. There's 3 of them that come and go through a series of questions to test your Bible knowledge and how you're living your life and different things like that, to see if you are what they say is qualified to be a baptized chosen witness. And as I said, I failed that test to begin with, but I went back and tried again a few months later. I think they said I needed to get my preaching, funny enough, I need to get my door knocking up a bit more before I was able to be approved. And once I did that, then I got the all thumbs up for getting baptized at 16. And then so that was 16. And then in 2019, at the age of 32, I think I was, or something, I left. And as I said, I will talk about the reasons why I left, but that's a separate video. Just wanted to give a bit of a backstory. So I basically, my timeline was start at the age of 3, or my mum got involved when I was at the age of 3, and I left at the age of 32-ish. So good 29 years of my life, almost 30 years of my life, I was a chosen witness. And yeah, that's just a very, very, very brief overview of my JW life. If anybody has any questions, as I said, please ask them in the comments or email me. But that is, I wanted to let you know the timeline. So 29 to almost 30 years worth of being a witness. So it wasn't a short amount of time at all. It was basically my whole childhood and a big chunk of my adult life. So I've got a lot of experience of being, you know, part of it, and a lot of experiences to do with that. But again, separate video. So again, thank you for watching, and Please follow along. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I will see you on the next one.